Thank you very much for inviting me to speak today. I've actually been around in Georgia for 5 years. So I came just after the Rose Revolution, and it's been my privilege to work with this government as they've turned what was essentially a failed state into the most dynamic country I personally have worked in the last 20 years. Let's have a look then at Magticom, the company which I run, and the sector in which I operate. The communications sector is probably the most advanced in many ways, apart from maybe the BP pipeline that's going through it. We work with all the major players, and the quality and the level of penetration is truly world-class. I'd also like to make a plug for the American Chamber of Commerce, which I have the privilege to be president of. I don't want to underplay this. I think it's an extremely important organization, particularly as I'm speaking here today in New York. We get amazing cooperation from government, the IMF, the various ministers, and of course the US Embassy. If you choose to come to invest in Georgia, you can be assured that we will be there to help you every step of the way. So communication sectors, what have we got? It simply works better than it does in New York. When we look at the mobile industry, as you're probably aware, mobile revolutionized the post-Soviet space. Because the fixed line was so bad, mobile was taken up as the primary communication device. Our coverage is at 97% of the landmass and 99% of the population. We are now running HSDPA. If you look on your phones now, you'll probably see Edge. That is 3 generations behind what you will get in Georgia. We've got Edge, 3G, HSDPA, and we're now moving to 4G. You can get internet anywhere in Georgia over the radio. We have about 3 million subscribers, about 600,000 in the fixed, and about 100,000 on the fixed line internet. That's cable. One of the things that's driven the mobile industry has been competition. There's no dominant play. I have an extremely strong competitor. Magticom is an American company. An extremely strong competitor that comes from TeliSonera, and they are very good. And we have a smaller player that comes from Russia, which entered recently. This keeps the market dynamic, it keeps prices low, and most importantly, it keeps technology high and new. But this, like many, many sectors in Georgia, is not a saturated market. Now, as I said, mobile was very good because fixed, in many ways, was very poor. Magticom has recently entered the fixed line market. This may be counterintuitive, but we are seeing growth that you would not believe. We have now become the second largest fixed line player in the country. This month, we sold 40,000 fixed line telephones. This will revolutionize again, after mobile, the way that Georgians can do business and can interact with one another. Every fixed line telephone we sell comes with internet. And we now also have the ability to put 3.5 megabits to a modem over radio. I just recently purchased 1,600 kilometers of fiber optic cable, which will start to deploy in the cities and between the cities. So what you will see over the next 2 to 3 years is Georgia having not only a better mobile telephone system in New York, but as good internet. Let me take a note just to talk about what it's like to actually run a business in Georgia. Because we talked a lot about figures, about how it's easy to run a business, but what does it really mean? What does Magticom actually do? Well, first of all, we have 1,000 employees. Those 1,000 employees have only one foreigner, and that's myself. Now, what's very important for this sector, as I've said, is competition. And what we have in this sector, as in nearly all sectors, is independence. So we have an independent regulator, and that works properly. Whenever I'm approached by businesses in the American Chamber of Commerce, they really need 3 things. They need a market, or else there's no point coming, and pretty much every sector, including telecoms, still has growth. They need to know there's no corruption, as Guy mentioned. And corruption in this country is massively less than any other country that I have worked in. Although, to be fair, I've always worked in this part of the world. That's Russia, Far East, and the Middle East. And the third thing that they want to know is that the government is behind them, and the government is behind you. So let's have a look at how it works in MACTI. We have a fully independent regulator, 1,000 employees, and only one is foreign, and that's me. All my level 1 and level 2 staff, the people reporting to me and the people who report to them, all have degrees. My direct reports have secondary degrees. Half of them are MBAs, and we all speak, including myself, 2 or 3 languages. So if you're going into an industry where you need good people, you will find them in Georgia. MACTICOM has less than 1% of its staff leaving annually. So what we find in our particular sector is that we've built up a team and it doesn't leave. So again, this is an opportunity for those of you who invest now. You will find good people and they're not going to run away. It's my experience that although many, many Georgians have international experience, because Georgia is such a beautiful place to live, they actually want to come back. So what you find is that while someone may go to Harvard, or while he may take a job with, let's say, Motorola, which many of my people did, after they've got 5 or 6 years experience, they want to come back to Georgia because it's a beautiful place to live and this is their country. Okay, salaries we've already mentioned are relatively low, but let's talk about another couple of things here. Over the last few years, we've noticed that the big 4 are beginning to dominate amongst the larger companies. We are audited by KPMG. Now we are preparing so that we can, at any time we wish to, in the future, be ready for, say, a listing. And this was already done by the Bank of Georgia quite recently. So what are we seeing in Georgia? What we're seeing is that 5 years, or 6 now I suppose, into this post-revolutionary period, we're developing real centres of excellence. MACTICOM is one of them. The banking sector is another. There are very good oil companies. We've got good transportation systems, but we've also got very good tourism industry developing. So if you come in now, you're not going to start from scratch. You're going to have a lot of these things already available. Good roads, good airports, good telecommunications, and I'd be delighted to be a provider. A good support structure from the AmCham. So what we're looking at here is a really good opportunity for anybody who wants to come to Georgia. Right, I keep talking, I didn't want to give you too many numbers, but this is why you should come to Georgia. This is it. This is the holy grail.